Do you know that women leave men 80% of the time? And if they're college educated, it's 90. And one of the number one predictors of divorce is actually if the woman out earns the man.
Oh, I love that. I actually love that. I can't lie. I actually
You love that? You don't think that's kind of shitty?
No, I'm like, girl, you go get that. You go get a man, and like, yeah, you go get that.
Like, why is there like a lack of empathy for men?
It's not a lack of empathy. It's
but there is, because like they're breaking up a family and a lifelong commitment and a home, and your reaction is you go get the bag, sis. Like, that's a sad situation. Like, your wife is leaving you. There are times where you make less money. Like, my dad's in the top 0.5% of earners. There were times where he was barely making any money. Yeah. And my mom stayed because she's a loyal bitch. Yeah. Yeah. And so I'm not going to say you go, sis, when you leave a lifelong commitment and a family you made because you out-earned your husband. That's selfish and that's wrong. And like, yeah, and you're saying you go, sis, and I say I have a lot of empathy for the men that go through that.
Did you know that women leave men 80% of the time? If they're college educated, it's 90%. And one of the number one predictors of divorce is if the woman out-earns the man. This is the reality, guys. For men, a divorce can mean the end of their lives, their hard-earned income, and their dignity. For women, it's just another way to tell the world how independent they are, and now how cash-rich they've become, probably securing an extra set of income for the rest of their lives. And to be honest, we all know the legal system is designed to work in favor of women and use men's resources to pay for their financial expenses for the rest of their lives. Women were never aligned with their men in what they wanted to achieve in life. And there have been many cases where women had actually planned to marry wealthy men, only to divorce them and live off of divorce money without having to work for the rest of their lives. Women have deceived men into marriage only to take away their resources. A lot of the credit goes to the MGTOW movement that allowed men to share their experiences and opened each other's eyes regarding the true nature of women. They realized that women are hypergamous. This means that women will always day up in socioeconomic ladder and will most likely monkey branch off to be with wealthier, more sociable, and more valuable men, throwing the concept of loyalty right out the window. And so, this created a transformational shift in the hearts and minds of men who saw women for what their nature was and decided to go their own way. Men are now avoiding marriages because they don't want to lose their resources. They are avoiding marriages because it's just not a good personal investment anymore. I mean, why would a guy marry someone knowing that there's like a 90% chance he will end up divorced, and then everything he has worked hard for since the last 20 years is probably going to be taken away from him? Men are avoiding marriage because they know that no matter what happens between them and their wives, the justice system is most likely going to see them as the guilty ones and punish them for it. Men are avoiding marriage because they know they can instead spend more peaceful lives without women. They know that there's no point coming home to a woman because she's not even going to be there, and B, she's only going to complain and whine. The empowering responsibility to be providers no longer exists for men, and this was the biggest reason men used to get married in the first place. No matter where you are, and no matter what age group you belong to, always know that it's not necessary that once you're married happily, it's going to stay like that forever. Women need constant validation, which I personally believe is just a cop-out for not being content with who they are at certain points in their lives and not truly being in control of their own emotions. Guys need to understand that you can't place your wife on a pedestal because it will be the standard you establish for her and what she will take for granted for the rest of her life. Therefore, if anything even slightly changes, she'll think you're a horrible guy and go off with the other men for validation. They need to be with women who are self-assured and don't need constant validation all the time. Guys aren't robots or mind readers. And guys, when a woman like this enters your life, you know what to do. Don't be loose and allow her to cross your boundaries. Respect them and respect yourself. If only women in their prime knew what they would be called if they didn't go against the laws of nature, they would spend their 20s a lot differently than they do now. They wouldn't chase the bad boys with the tattoos. They wouldn't party around and ride the carousel. And they would focus on starting a family. We can say with certainty that no matter what men and women achieve in this world, the basic and undisturbed laws of human nature remain unchanged. There are some things that were meant to be, and no matter how much men and women may try, in the end, the truth can only be what nature intends for men and women, their functions, and the way they live. Statistics, data, and studies are useless to modern women. When you read their online rants about how older gentlemen prefer younger women or that they'd like to be alone, you might think they're crazy. They feel you're speaking from an ideological standpoint, which is obviously not the case, but they are misinformed. Guys are elementary beings who only seek to be loved, admired, and respected. On the other hand, women constantly expect the very best from every male. Despite all the talk about equality, they don't try to achieve it. An average woman wants a tall, handsome, wealthy, and attractive man. However, she typically fails to work on and improve her inner beauty, her personality, and character. In the end, what is on the inside ultimately manifests on the outside, and 99% of the time, this results in an entitled and ungrateful person who is self-centered and demands that the man grant her every wish for the rest of his life. Interestingly, feminism has strangled women while freeing men. Why? Women are disproportionately represented in undervalued occupations, are familiar with the harsh realities of the job market, and most importantly, find it dreadful to think of growing old. Even though this last statement is quite telling, the majority of women find it difficult to accept it because of their social conditioning. Schools, the media, and the entertainment sector actively urge women to put off getting married and starting a family while concurrently encouraging them to pursue other objectives such as pursuing an education, a career, or even many partners. By the way, the word partners refers to casual flings and one-night stands rather than long-term relationships. Social conditioning is incredibly harmful and potent. Modern women who fall for it will go to any lengths to protect the beliefs they hold dear. In actuality, they simply combine it with the information they've received from institutions, significant figures, and multinational corporations with little regard for the pleasure of women. They're conditioned for instant gratification. They want instant happiness, wealth, fame, luxury, and comfort. They want perfection in men, while they hardly bring anything to the table except perhaps their physical selves. We've all seen and known that women overspend, live paycheck to paycheck, and have so much emotional baggage that their ability to attach as a couple is permanently lost. They turn to antidepressants and other legal drugs like alcohol and cigarettes when they are in their mid-30s and early 40s and have trouble finding a man who truly wants them as a mate. However, this does not imply that men pay them no attention. Some males will thirst for any woman out there, no matter what sort they are. She becomes more manly the more marriages and children she has. If I had to sum up how the remaining women think, I'd say ideology triumphs over biology. They ridicule guys, demonize them, and treat them with total disdain. Here are a few additional facts in case they still need them. When women have over 10 intimate partners, their desire to get married to a man is little more than a last-ditch effort. Pair bonding is virtually impossible, and research indicates that she probably contains DNA from several guys. Let me put it this way. Would you want some other guy's DNA in your child? A person will always be shaped by their family's environment. The woman is likely to be more damaged than a conventional woman raised in a healthy home if the social conditioning is coupled with the absence of a good mother figure or with the presence of a promiscuous or toxic mother. It's like going back in time, and I mean the golden times if you ever come across conventional women. Sadly, they are not very common. Even if they don't behave like it or don't have the qualities for it, leftover women and modern women as a whole desire to be treated like traditional ladies. They presumably never understood the meaning of the saying, "You can't have your cake and eat it too." Even honorable women are aware of this terrible reality and openly admit that they prefer being correct and domineering to being happy. The remaining women delay having children, like imposing their ideals while spreading the gospel of tolerance and freedom. and feel oppressed simply for being female. They rarely acknowledge that being a woman is far more advantageous than being a man. Working their way up the corporate ladder until their 40s, modern women made every attempt to grab and own the essence of power they felt would make them happy. They just realized how important it was to have children, settle down, have good relationships with men, and become excellent mothers way too late. They can't even admit that they should have followed the rules and lived in accordance with their feminine nature, now that they have been exposed to so much feminist philosophy. As women learn how to be content, they may eventually come to accept traditional gender roles. The only thing left to do is wait and observe. What do you think? Let's discuss this in the comments. Thanks for watching Man Reacts. Show us your love and support by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. And let us know your thoughts on this in the comments. We're always up for a healthy debate and discussion.